Happy National Sunscreen Day. I am Dr. Mona Amin, a board-certified pediatrician and mom, and I am teaming up with Coppertone Pure and Simple Baby today to talk to you all about what to look for in a sunscreen, when to start applying it, how often to apply it, and so much more in regards to sun safety. Before we continue, make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's how you stay up to date on all of the videos I post here on Peds Doc Talk TV, and here we go. So first, let's talk about what to look for in a sunscreen. We use Pure and Simple Baby because of their ingredient profile and ease of application. It comes in a spray format or a lotion format, which I'll go over how to apply both of these. It's also made with naturally sourced zinc oxides, which are great for babies and toddlers, which I'll get into. Coppertone is also one of the most trusted names in sunscreen, and they're always staying up to date on industry standards and regulations to provide the best products for families and children. When looking for sunscreen, the first thing you want to look for is the SPF, or the sun protection factor. The sun protection factor is how well the sunscreen protects against UV rays. No sunscreen is 100%, which is why other protection measures are needed, which I'll go over in this video as well. Dermatologists recommend using a sunscreen with at least an SPF of 30, which helps protect against 97% of the sun's UV rays. Higher number SPFs can block more UV rays, but a sunscreen SPF of 30 to 50 is adequate for children and for you as well. Another thing you want to look for in a sunscreen is that it says broad spectrum, which means that it protects against UVA and UVB rays. UVA rays can prematurely age skins and cause things like wrinkles and sunspots, and UVB rays cause sunburns. You also want to look for a sunscreen that is water resistant. So this can be anywhere from 40 minutes to 80 minutes, and it'll say it on the bottle as to how long that lasts for. This is important because our children are likely going to be outside in a pool, at the beach, getting wet when they're in the sun. So we want to have a sunscreen that provides that water resistance. The other big question we get asked as pediatricians is, does my child need a mineral sunscreen or a chemical sunscreen? Mineral sunscreens are also called physical sunscreens, and then we have our chemical sunscreens. Chemical sunscreens act more like a sponge, absorbing UV rays so that it can't harm our skin. Chemical sunscreens rub in easily, so you're not going to see that white layer that is common in the mineral or physical sunscreens. Physical sunscreens act more like a shield, deflecting UV rays to protect the skin. They contain active ingredients such as zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Coppertone Pure and Simple Baby contains 100% naturally sourced zinc oxide, so it's a very simple ingredient in this sunscreen. Physical or mineral sunscreens are preferred for children. It doesn't mean that chemical sunscreens are bad in any way. We just have a preference based on the science and based on how they work for children. If you do end up using a chemical sunscreen, you want to make sure you use a sunscreen with zinc oxide or titanium dioxide on those sensitive areas, such as the nose, the shoulders, or the ears, because it just works better for sensitive areas and sensitive skin. Some bonuses in sunscreen. I like hypoallergenic sunscreen. Coppertone Pure and Simple Baby is hypoallergenic. Why is this important? Well, babies and children have sensitive skin. Even though they're technically not allergic to a lot of lotions or ointments, it can really help children who have sensitive skin, babies who are sensitive. In regards to using a lotion or a cream or a spray, it's really up to you. Sprays are sometimes preferred for the ease of application. Coppertone Pure and Simple Baby has now come out with a spray version. It's great for the face. You want to make sure you spray it into your hand and then put it on their face. For the body, you can spray it in and just wipe it into the skin. You want to make sure if you're using the lotion or the spray that you're using enough to cover all exposed areas. If you're using the spray version, you also want to make sure that you're not inhaling the spray directly, or you're not using it near an open flame, heat, or smoking. So how young do you start applying sunscreen? We recommend starting sunscreen as early as 6 months of age, regardless of your complexion. So it doesn't matter your skin tone, you really want to use sunscreen for your baby. The AAP also does recommend that if for any reason your child is over 2 months and not yet 6 months, and you are not able to provide safety from the sun, then a small amount of sunscreen is okay for your baby, as the benefits outweigh any risks. It's just that the studies were done more for children over 6 months of age, but it doesn't mean that using it younger water is unsafe. But remember, for any baby, any child, we want to use other sun safety measures besides sunscreen. So if you have a 4-month-old and there is no way for you to avoid direct sun exposure, you can use sunscreen on exposed areas such as the face, the hands, the feet, anywhere that is not protected against the sun from clothes. Next, I'm going to talk about when to apply, how often to apply, and also a demo on how I apply this for my son Ryan. You want to make sure you apply it 15 minutes before you go outside. That's ideal to give it some time to set in. And then you also want to make sure, if it's the first time you're using the sunblock or spray, that you patch test it in an area. I've already done that with Ryan. Just because every child's skin's different, you want to make sure that they don't react. So let's do first we're going to do the lotion. You want to hold that? So with the lotion, you want to make sure you can start, obviously you're going to get the legs. If you're using sun-safe clothing, this one has a very tight weave. You don't need to apply it under that, but if you obviously don't have sun-safe clothing that has almost like a loose weave, then you want to make sure you apply sunblock everywhere. It's going to leave that white sheen. That's because of the zinc oxide component. This is a physical sunscreen, so it's not going to really blend in to the skin that much. That one? So make sure you also get their feet, which is obviously the tops of their feet, because that can also burn. And you want to make sure you get the legs. Obviously, if the arms were open, you get the arms. How you doing? You want to hold that one? Want to do hand? Yay! Other hand? Yay! Can I do cheek? Cheek! Very good. For the face, you want to make sure you get the nose, the forehead, and people often forget the ears. So I just do one big whoop. There we go. And just get the ears. Very good. And you can blend it in. You like that? Very good. Very good. Another trick is that you can use a foundation brush, which also they love because they think it's fun and that you're playing with them. And this can actually be really good behind the ears and for the top of the ears. And you can take this on the go. Hairline too, if they have any open spots on the hairline, you can do it there too. But this is fun for them. And you can also get the nose that way. Very good. So you want to make sure you get all open areas. Do not forget the ears. Do not forget the top of the shoulders if the shoulders are exposed. Do not forget the nose. And you can use things like a foundation brush to help you. Yay! Our goal here is to have fun in the sun, but also to protect our children from harmful UV rays. The reason why we're so big on this early on is that when we start to do sun safety from an early age, it can really reduce our risk of getting skin cancer. So we see that if a child or adolescent gets frequent sunburns, they are more at risk of getting melanoma. This is also something that applies to every skin tone. So it doesn't matter if you are darker skin or lighter skin, it's really important to use sunscreen. Besides sunscreen, some sun safety tips. Shade. Remember that peak sun time in the United States is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is when the UV rays are strongest. So you want to make sure that if you have a younger baby, try to go before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. If you are trying to go out between 10 and 4 p.m., make sure that you use sunscreen if it's age appropriate, and also try to find some shade. So if you're going for a walk, you can put the canopy over the stroller to provide more protection from the UV rays. If you're going to the beach, take an umbrella. You can be out in the sun, but you can have a space that is shaded to provide extra protection against UV rays. If you're going to the park, find a bench underneath a tree to provide even more protection. Remember that shade does help, but you still want to apply sunscreen as indicated on the packaging and after swimming or getting wet. Also make sure to use sun-safe clothing. So some brands come with a UPF indication. This is a protection against UV rays. If you don't find clothing with a UPF rating, you want to look for clothing with a tight weave. So tight weave meaning you pull it and it doesn't look like a lot of sunlight is coming through. Try to find a wide-brimmed hat that can shade the cheeks, chin, ears, and back of the neck. These are the sensitive areas that can burn easily. Sunglasses with UV protection are also a great way to protect our children's eyes. Always make sure to keep your children hydrated when they're outside. If they are breastfeeding or taking formula, you can use that. If they are older, you can give them water or whatever they're drinking to keep them hydrated. If you are out in the sun and you notice that your child is getting very listless and tired and feeling very warm to you, it's important to find some shade or maybe pack up and go back home. If they do develop develop a sunburn, you wanna make sure you cool it off. You can use some ice. You can use things like aloe vera. If you start to notice any signs of infection, speak to your child's pediatrician so that they can evaluate to make sure there's no other management that's needed. Thank you, Coppertone Pure and Simple Baby, for partnering with me to educate everyone about sunscreen safety. I want you to enjoy your summer. I want you to protect your skin and your children's skin. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up sign. Ask any comments in the comment section. And please make sure to subscribe to Pete's Doc Talk TV to stay up to date on all of my videos here. And see you next time.